Coach Troy described this win as kind of a big character win in a lot of facets. What did you see from your team tonight?
I mean, I thought the first two periods was like textbook hockey for the way we're supposed to play in terms of moving the puck vertically and just keeping it simple. I mean, obviously we get them on a back-to-back, and they're a heck of a hockey team, and you can't mess around with the puck against Winnipeg. And I thought we stuck to our plan. We got a little bit negligent with the puck in the third period, and they took advantage of it. And they're a team that makes you pay if you turn it over and give them odd man rushes. So I think we got the game back as a humongous kill at the end there. So credit to the Tomer and the penalty killing, and then just a timely great goal at the end by Troy.
How much of a factor was putting the puck on net tonight? Seeing you got a lot of shots on.
Yeah, I think after two periods we had like 50 shot attempts, and then I don't know what the total was after three, but that was the message. And you can see again the second period we got a little bit cute again, didn't shoot it on the net, but I keep thinking these guys are young, they're learning. This is a win that should give them a lot of confidence. So again, it's a team win, and we can build off it.
Aside from the lull in the third, do you feel like that's the best 60 minutes you put together?
I think the best game we played was against LA, the one we lost. I think we lost 2-1. I think for 60 minutes, I thought we had a lot of energy and a lot of jump, but that was certainly close.
I wanted to ask you about that. Did this have a similar feel? I mean, you guys were dominating play, but you're still looking up at the same 2-1. And what do you think flipped it for that solid push at the end? Obviously, that's your goals, PK you mentioned.
Well, you have that thought in the bench, like I think the shots was 20-8 or something after two periods, and we had one goal. We had quality chances, and I'm like, here we go again. We get chances and we don't score. And like, the problem with that is that when you don't score, you're not building that offensive momentum into the game. I don't think anybody's like gripping their sticks at this point, but you get this little, whatever theory in the back of your head saying it's going to be a tough night to score, and then fortunately we did break through. And when it went up 2-1 for them, I was like, boy. But talk about shooting the puck. It was a simple shot from the blue that we tipped in, and then obviously Troy's goal was terrific.
I know you're an observer of trends and patterns. Do you ever get the sense like the worse a penalty is, the more likely you are to get scored on? Like the Johnston penalty in the second period.
The karma? Yeah. I mean, I didn't see the incident. I didn't see what happened. I just heard. I thought that we're both getting tossed in the penalty box, and we had complete control of the game. And then they scored that goal, and it happened so quick. I think that kind of stunned us for a little bit, right? But I don't know. It's just like, sir, I didn't really have that thought to answer your question.
Greg, how meaningful has it been to have a line come to the forefront like Troy, Storr, and Frank it has been, especially when it's been kind of a tough time having a line come to the forefront?
Well, that's why they've been together. I mean, you run the risk of being pull them apart and try and get a little bit of energy out of other lines, and like quite frankly, like some of these other lines got to start picking it up. I thought that Mac T's line was really good on the road trip when Robbie Fabry came back, and I thought they all had jump. They didn't, they didn't play to that level. Like Stromey's line was outstanding. Like if you get everybody playing to that level, then you're gonna win a lot of hockey games. So it's up to us as coaches and to the players to try and find that energy to play as a cohesive unit and generate the chances that Stromey did.
Jackson's playing with looked like just a ton of confidence right now. How much are you guys also encouraging him to jump up like that when the opportunity is there?
You talking about Hawkins?
No, Jackson. Look home.
Oh, Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, you could see it. I mean, he's like, I watch him from the bench now, and it's like, okay, you have a guy that's a legitimate difference maker. It's just not, like Makar is very flashy, and he's obviously like an all-world defenseman, and Jackson doesn't have the same pop to his skating, but he's got a very cerebral way that he plays the game, and he makes the right play. He's poised. He's got a burst of speed that gives him the opportunity to generate the chances he's getting. Yeah, I mean, he's our best defenseman by a long shot.
Have you just needed some players to just, like I said, make that step forward to become difference makers? It's one thing to, play minutes, play solidly, but to be difference makers.
Yeah, I mean that's what you're hoping, right? And this is like I said, like these rebuilds, they take time, right? We all want it to happen now, and it takes time. And he's a guy that's popping, right? So he's kind of raising his level, and he's impacting the game in a positive way. And you're hopeful that guys like Leo and Mac T and Cutter, and then Zelly, who's been in and out doing that. Minty takes off. Hellison came in and he was really good in a quiet way, right? That's what you're trying to do. And the staff is trying to put these guys in an environment where they're going to develop and not get overwhelmed. Jackson got overwhelmed last year at times. He got overwhelmed a little bit this year, but I think he's gotten over that. And they're all going to look back at some point and say, hey, I went through the hard part, and I'm glad I went through it. And the guys that went through the AHL are going to have a similar experience with more reps, but it's just part of the process.
We talked a lot about Jackson last year, and then, obviously he had a big summer. Do you think he's your most improved player year over year? And what do you think is the biggest difference in his game from his first pro season to his second year?
It's confidence. Like I think I've said this before. I know his coach well in Minnesota, and he had told me that he was better than Faber in Minnesota when he was running the first power play. When you look at Faber last year and you looked at Jackson, you're like, how did that happen, right? And he's a very introverted kid. He's quiet. He's a cerebral person, and he you see him walking around. He doesn't walk around like a real confident, chest out guy, but he's got a quiet confidence about him. And we saw it in training camp, and then he got sick, and it kind of went away, and now he's got it. And like I said earlier, the confidence is like the most important thing for these kids. And he found it, and he has it, and he's going to run with it. And I think that's what's really making all of his skills and his talent visible now.
We talk about the patience of a rebuild, and I even asked Trooper this the other day, and he said, focusing on the process over the result. Is this kind of game the benefit of having the process turn into a result? Like everything that you've wanted to see is kind of shown in a game like that? Yeah,
and that's what you need. You need wins to actually validate the process, right? You need to have these wins that are going to give the guys the confidence and the belief. Belief is huge that they can win, right? And tonight was one of those games. And I have in my own head there's certain games that we're going to play that I have as like benchmark games, because some teams are really, really good, and they dominated games against us last year. So I kind of use those games as a benchmark of where we're at compared to last year. And in Winnipeg, we actually played them well at home, but we get smoked up in Winnipeg. And this is one of those games that's a good game to compare that process. Okay?